So hello and welcome to AI Automation Guru. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you a tool which I've been using for a few days, and I found it to be extremely helpful when it comes to using multiple AI agents. Now, the tool is called Herdr, and they are the people that have made videos about Herdr, but most of the videos are not as comprehensive and not beginner friendly. So in this video, I'll go ahead and walk you through the process of installing Herdr. We'll talk about what Herdr is, how you can use it, and why Herdr is a potential game changer for many people that who aren't just developers, but whether you have a marketing team, whether you do SEO, whether you do digital marketing, whether you do social media. Herdr is a game changer because it's a multi-agent orchestrator. So you might have heard people using, let's say, Fable 5 as the boss, and let's say 4.8 as the executor, and let's say you also have OpenAI's one of OpenAI's model as a content writer, and the boss then gives instructions to the copywriter and to the coding agent, and the coding agent does the code or writes or designs a website, and the copywriter does the copy and does the research. And you can have all of these agents set up with Fable 5 or Opus 5 now that it's out, kind of overlooking everything and providing the prompts needed to make sure that the project is completed the way it should. So Herder is kind of is that, but it's a little more nuanced than that. It's got a lot more features, and it's a little more complex. But rest assured, it's not that difficult to set up. And it's not that difficult to understand. So this is Herdr's website. You will go to herdr.dev, and you will download Herdr. And the way you do that is you open your Windows PowerShell and you copy and paste the command into the command prompt or the PowerShell, and it goes ahead and installs. Herdr also has a few plugins that you can use and make things that change the way it works and improves the way it works, well, depending on what your workflow is. And it also is, for the most part, it's a multiplexer. So you can use multiple agents, you can do drag and drop, you can copy and paste, you can close a session and then open it right back up and it starts from where it was, a lot like Tmux is. I think Tmux has that feature. I'm not entirely sure. But using a multiplexer means that now, for instance, I have an open router account. On my open router account, sometimes I don't have credits in it, but I do have a subscription to Opus, and I do have a subscription to OpenAI, and I have, even though I have the base model or the base subscription, it allows me to use multiple agents. And now I also got a Grok subscription, so I can use all four of these, and I can set up an orchestrator on the multiplexer, and I can then just build my workflow from there. And I can just go ahead and build my workflow from there, and it makes things a lot. So now that Herdr has been installed, we can go ahead and fire up Herdr. This is Herdr's GitHub repo, so it's open source for the most part, and you can see, like, I mean, the GitHub repo doesn't have a lot of information because there's a lot of depth to Herdr, but it has the basic setup installation, whether you're on Windows, whether you're on a Mac. I'm using this on my Mac. I'm just setting this up on my Windows. So we'll see what issues I encounter on Windows. And I have been facing bugs with Hermes agent, for instance, on Windows. And some other stuff has just been buggy on Windows, but it has worked smoothly on my Mac. We'll go ahead and see if we face those same issues on my Windows computer as well. So this is the GitHub repo. There's not a lot of information, but the website has the docs, it has the how-tos, it has all of the information. And the way I like to work with this is you just copy the URL of the docs, paste it into, let's say, Codex or ChatGPT, and you ask it to simplify it and help you with understanding how this works. And that's the way I understand it, because it's technical and it's densely written. So sometimes I don't understand it. So I just copy and paste, and it makes it easier for me to understand. And so here it is. We fired up the multiplexer, or Herdr in this case. On the left panel, we have these workspace accounts that we can create. And over on the right is where we can also create separate tabs. And over here in the bottom is where our AI agents are listed. So we can also minimize, and we can open up the tabs. We can also add more tabs. We can add custom tabs. So by default, it just says one. but then you can go down, so add a tab and give it a custom name. For instance, I'll name a new tab email marketing, and I'll name the other tab also a custom name. And this is just for demonstration purposes. You don't necessarily need to create separate tabs, but every separate tab has its own console or its own PowerShell. So instead of just opening up PowerShell from the bottom and just using it on Windows, this is a lot more convenient because you can have multiple instances of the PowerShell, and you can go out also and rename them. So if you've given it a different name and you want to change the name, just right click. And yeah, it also has point and click. So it's a lot like using it on Windows. It's just that this is the command prompt or PowerShell, which is interesting because the PowerShell usually doesn't have this type of functionality. So it's like a marriage of the PowerShell and the copy and pasting of Windows, so the ease of use. So a lot of people that feel intimidated by the PowerShell will find that, this is a lot easier to work with. So here we have a list of supported agents. So it supports Hermes agent, it supports Pi agent, it supports Codex, Codex's harness, or ChatGPT's harness. It also supports Anthropic's harness. So you can use it with Claude's native harness. And on my Mac computer, what happened was I just installed Herdr, and it automatically picked up everything. So I didn't have to do any configuration, any installation. It just automatically picked it up. Now, problem with my Windows computer is I want to use Hermes with those harnesses. So for now, I'll just set up Hermes agent. So Hermes agent is supported by Herdr. So I'll set up Hermes agent with Codex and Pi agent. Pi agent has been bugging out on me too. So we'll see if we're able to set this up with Pi agent. If not, we'll just do Codex and we'll do Hermes agent. All right, so I'm finally into my Claude account, and this did take a while because for some reason on Windows, Google doesn't trust me. It just trusts me on my Mac. So anyway, so I'm logged in, and I can go ahead and now invoke Claude. So over on the left, if you take a look at this, we've now got 3 agents. So we've got one's called website development, which is in the website development tab. One's in the email marketing tab, and one is in the test sequence tab. Now this doesn't really matter. It says this because we've invoked each one in a different tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test this out, and we're going to see how this multi-agent thing works. Now, I have a prompt that I've made. So I have a prompt that I've come up with that we can use to test this, and we can test how well Claude is working with Hermes agent and how well Hermes agent is working with Pi. The problem with Pi right now is I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. So once I'm done making this video, I'll go ahead and try and fix my Pi installation and see exactly what's going on. But for the sake of this video, having 2 agents is fine. I would usually have 3 agents or 4 even, but I also have a Grok subscription, and I use that with my Mac. But I digress. Let's go ahead and give this a shot over here. So we will do. All right. So this is a simple command. It's I'm running this through Hermes. So it says start a coding agent in one pane and give it a task that requires approval or decision. In the other pane, monitor its Herdr state. Tell me when. Oh, there's a bit of a typo over here. Tell me when Herdr marks it blocked, done idle, or working, and explain what caused the state to change. So we'll go ahead and fire this up, and we'll take a look at how this works. So this is, let's say, the main agent over here, which is Hermes. Now Hermes is working on the initial state or the initial command that we've given it, or the initial prompt that we've given it. And we're using like the base free model from OpenRouter. And this mainly goes to show that if you want to minimize your token use, you can even have the orchestrator as a more expensive model, and then have the cheaper models just execute. And by doing that, you're minimizing your token use. And in some cases, you might be able to use a free model. Now, I've not tested this, but theoretically that is possible. So you can maybe have a Fable 5 or an Opus 5 as the orchestrator, and then have something like a cheap model, like let's say Kimi or um, Rock or any one of these as executors, or even a free model like the one I'm using here to just execute the commands that are given by the orchestrator model. So right now we have the main model running over. You can see this little square thing flashing on the left. And now it says we're gonna like set up the workflow. No Tmux on this in this Windows box, but I can use a process tool to spawn and monitor. Let me run the Hermes agent in the background terminal pane and pull its output with the process tool. And we'll see if it dedicates work to our Claude code, because that's the only other agent that we have running. So since we're running this for the first time, it's saying, first let me check what terminal multiplexing options we have. So it's now checking because we have no Tmux available on this Windows host, but the pattern still works. I'll spawn the agents as a background terminal process, workers pane, and use process polling monitor pane. Let me set this up. So basically this will be your monitor pane, and you can have a more expensive model as a monitor pane, or the one that orchestrates it. In this case, I'm using the cheaper model, and the executor is the more expensive model, which is counterintuitive. But this is just a test on my Windows machine just to show you how multiplexing can work. And over here on the left, you can have like 6, 7, 8 agents, and you can have multiple instances. And I've fired these up in different terminal windows or these separate workspace tabs, but it's entirely up to you. You can fire them up all in the same. It doesn't really matter. What matters is having the agents over here on the left. You can remove the agent that's not working. So this spy agent isn't working for me, so I can just go ahead and remove it. For some reason, let's see. Or now this is not removing. I'll check why this is not being removed. Well, look at this over here. This is the command that it's giving it, or the prompt. That you are a coding agent for Rapid Marketing LLC, Next.js website, and your task is add a Telegram. So this is a command or a prompt that usually a human would give to another agent. But in this case, it's Hermes giving this command to another agent. And the agent is spawned as a background process. So we have another agent that's spawning as a background process. Okay, so this is now more or less complete. And during this whole process, initiating, working, running, exiting the code, it didn't call upon my Claude code over here. So it didn't call upon this. Now, that is strange because this was set up when I ran this on my Windows computer. Oh, sorry, on my MacBook. This did fire up my Claude code. But in this case, it's not, but it's still running. It still says reflecting. So, all right. So now we know that, so this is completely finished running. And throughout the process, it didn't call Claude code. And the reason being is because this was not set up to call Claude code. This is spinning up multiple agents within itself. So it says test setup 2 panes, no Tmux for this Windows. So I used a closest equivalent. So it didn't have Tmux, and we don't necessarily need Tmux. So for some reason, this specific prompt just didn't turn out the way it should. It didn't fire up the it didn't fire up Claude code over here. So now we're gonna like explicitly ask it to fire up Claude code. And the way we do that is, let's go ahead and do the command over here. So what I'm asking it over here is Hermes act as a Herdr orchestrator, start Claude code in a new pane as Claude worker, give it a small repo inspection task, wait for it to finish, read its output, and surmise the results for me. Use Herdr automation commands, not the manual instruction. If Claude code fails, launch, show the exact error. We'll go ahead and do it. The only problem here is I don't know what GitHub repo it's going to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and find myself a GitHub repo, because what we want to see is how well this orchestrates. Now, I know it does orchestrate, but I'm going to explicitly, we've asked it to, because it's Hermes agent. This is not a problem necessarily with the multiplexer or Herdr. This is a problem with Hermes agent understanding the command. And because we're using a cheap or free model, it's not as intelligent as, let's say, a paid model. If I had Codex set up with Hermes, there will be a whole different story. But in this case, we've explicitly given it the command to use Claude code for this. So it will run through its skills, its orchestration, set up the orchestration, and it will give Claude code, hopefully, the command, and we will see Claude code working over here. So this tick mark over here will turn into a little box, and then it'll start spinning, like you see with the Hermes agent box doing the little spinning thing over here, right? So you can see that the Hermes agent has disappeared. Now we only see the Claude agent over here on the left, and Hermes agent is back. It's spinning again. So now it's now going to act as the orchestrator. So it's same over here using Hermes native automation commands. So let's see how well this does. I've not seen previously an agent disappear from the agent's workspace on the left, not on my Mac. So I don't know if this is intentional or if this is a bug with the system, or the, I don't know, maybe a bug with Windows, but this keeps disappearing. So Claude keeps disappearing over here. So it says Claude ran, finished the output. So Claude was running. So each time Claude disappeared over here, it was running. So let's take a look at Claude. And yeah, so each time Claude disappeared, it was running. Which I guess, and also you can see this glitch. For some reason, I have this glitch on my Windows computer. I don't have this glitch on my MacBook, but it worked. It spawned running the terminal, and it was working. So one of the things you can do is, if you're using a cheap or a free model, is give it the explicit command to use Herdr orchestrator, and then set up the orchestration for each agent. Now, I must say, like for every type of AI model that you use, and for every type of harness, so Hermes agent is a harness, and so depending on the harness and depending on the model you use, it's hard to predict what the outcome would be. And so you might want to make sure that you're setting up orchestration first as a test, and then test it with multiple configurations, I just say, and to find the best configuration for your specific use case, and then take it from there. So if you guys like the video, like, subscribe as always. And I will see you in the next video.